worth losing the business to kick them out, or is it worth having them on? I think time will tell because their consumers obviously are going to flock.
Hmm, Hello?
Hello.
Oh,
Hello from the other
your
side.
voice cut out. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Sorry
know.
about
It's
that.
a free to play game, so I can understand, if they're taking like, 30% discount and it's like through, the same thing gives you the option whether to go through Apple or just go through them and save, a bunch of money on some, fake currency or whatever. I can imagine that the majority of whatever profits that Apple or Google would be making from the app would, essentially just disappear because of something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of revenue that's going to be going down the drain for Apple and Google, in their opinion. So I get why they want to go ahead and fight this battle. It's going to be interesting. It's going to drag out in the courts for a long time. But see, we got a couple new faces here in the audience. Guys, welcome. This is the Blockchain Universe podcast. Futures podcast is what we call it. We're here to talk about the future of gaming, crypto, VR, streaming games. There's so much going on in this space. Join us every Tuesday here in Altspace, as well as you can watch the stream on YouTube, Twitch, all the likes. Got Annalise and Brian here to my left, and we're going to continue discussing some more. We just talked about the huge shift in gaming when it comes to the mobile platform for Apple and Android by removing Fortnite from the stores. I think that's going to be an interesting battle over the months to come, as well as the other companies that are looking at this battle and hoping that they can get away from this 30% charge that Apple and Google dominate and basically created a duopoly with. Because we all seen that if you create a new app store, if you're not Apple or Google and you don't have the apps that they have, your app store is dead. It just won't survive. You're not going to get that on a new phone. Samsung tried it with Tizen. Huawei is trying to do it now, and it's just not working. So really curious to see where that's going to go. But I'm really curious to see how much people are really affected by this change. What do you guys think? Is it in the millions, or is it not that big of a base of people that are playing Fortnite on their phones anyway?
I'd
um,
imagine it being mostly kids, anyone that's older that
yeah,
still plays this
children.
probably on a, computer of some sort or a console.
Yeah, mostly children. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard people play Fortnite much on their phones, so I don't particularly think it's going to affect a lot of older adults, mostly children, like Brian said. But I don't know. Um, Anywho, I actually want to talk about something else real quick. I'm sure you guys have heard of Akon, wonderful guy, making moves out in Africa. So look. It looks like he's just about done planning this crypto city that he has going on. It's worth at about $6 billion, which is crazy. He's building it in Africa. If you guys aren't aware, but essentially it's a smart city. They're building a smart city where everything is kind of modern. So it's completely different from the rest of basically the entire continent. Um, New infrastructure. I think he's gonna be doing the what's the Wi like Starlink, where it's satellite Wi-Fi and all that stuff. Forbes wrote an article about it if you guys want to look more in depth to it. But I think it's super interesting. I think a lot of companies are gonna try to flock out there and start corporations and start setting up business in Africa because of that. Because that's kind of cool. It's gonna take a really long time to build, like a really long time to build. It's not
Yeah.
easy to build an entire city from scratch because that's what he's doing. It's a plot of land, it's empty, there's nothing there, and he's building on top of it. So it's gonna be like at least 10 years, at least, before we see anything like
I'm
major.
gonna say
I feel like.
anything. I would say that's when you'll
Well,
see the like
there's gonna
full
be like
development.
well, yeah, it's gonna be like 10 years before it's like fully, not even fully developed, but developed enough to, house and run conferences, because they're like, there's only so much you can build in a certain period of time, and they have to put in water pipes, electric lines, everything. Like there's nothing there. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
All I
It's
know
gonna
is
take
the
at least
more
a few
money
years to get all that stuff together.
All I know is the more money you put to it, the faster you can get construction done. So I'm really curious to see what that how that goes, and especially with ACoin, if they're gonna really build on top of that and utilize the funds from ACoin to speed up the construction. But speaking of Africa, I saw recently that there's a blockchain VR platform called Seek, Ceek. Looks like they did a concert in Africa with some African artists. Got a bunch of people from I forget I think it was Ghana, was one of the top represented countries in Africa that attended this virtual concert, bringing everybody together during this whole pandemic and having some fun
That's
from
pretty
home
cool.
via virtual
VR.
reality. Yeah, I think that was really
Anything
awesome.
digital is the wave right now. Speaking of Fortnite, when they did the digital concerts with Steve Aoki and what's his name? Travis Scott. Yeah,
Travis
that guy.
Scott, yeah.
Yeah, so anything digital is like the wave right now. Digital concerts are the wave because people can't actually go to concerts. I was traveling this weekend, and I ended up going to Maryland, Baltimore. I don't know where you guys are located, but a lot of the stuff in the city, even though it's not a high risk place, is shut down. Some stuff is closed permanently. So, I don't know how much more longer a lot of these events are gonna keep non being non-existent. But I know it's putting a dent in a lot of event planners' pockets. So there's that.
Absolutely. All right, Brian, just tell us the 411 and the blockchain gaming space.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. One of the things that has happened recently is Dissolution, the uh, blockchain game that is on Steam, first person shooter. They just had a complete overhaul of the game, so they added in a story mode, they added in
Ooh,
the flight combat, space combat. Yeah, the story mode only has the prologue so far, but it's got about 5 missions to it. Takes around an hour to complete. I went through it earlier
nice. Just for
today.
the prologue? That sounds neat.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's got cutscenes. It's got a bunch of different like characters in it, all voiced. The graphics looks absolutely amazing. The different scenes look absolutely amazing. It was a really fun time. So that's up. They were down for a few weeks, which is why I mentioned that they're back up. And yeah, so the overhaul is taking effect. Another one.
What's
Yep.
the plot line looking like for the story? Don't get into too much. I'm definitely gonna check it out, but give me a little 411 on what's the game about.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more kind of like a mix between like adding everything from the first person shooter aspect. So you have like the assault mode, like the drones from there, and then the zombies from that mode, kind of like together, is like a part of the plot. And then you go like between like Earth and the moon using like the ships and whatnot. And then they have space stations and whatnot. So it's very heavily uh, going more towards like hopping between being on the planet and like going around fighting at different parts and then going up into space and doing like space combat and then like running like a space station and like maybe
Awesome.
going to other planets and whatnot. So yeah,
Reminds me
it's
of a lot of
real
Star
cool. The
Wars.
plot's coming together a lot. Yeah, it's definitely different than I expected, but not in a bad way. I've had a lot of fun playing it so far, and I've
Can't wait.
barely gotten into the online mode.
Definitely want to check
So
that
yeah,
out. Tell
and
me a little
mhm.
bit before you move on about how the blockchain aspect of it. So, I know that you get to really like control your assets within this game.
Yeah, it's a little confusing right now because they're moving off of Engine and they're working on making their own like token standard.
Interesting. Didn't
So I'm
know
not
that.
sure exactly how they have that
So it
planned, but
won't
yeah,
be
they're
ERC20?
no. No, I was
Interesting.
gonna do their 1155 standard, but
Oh,
now they've moved
55.
away from Engine, so they're looking towards other options right now.
That's
So
interesting.
that's
What do you
still
think
kind of up in the air.
caused them to switch from engine and go to their own platform?
scalability issues. They had an article on it, just
Scalability
with
issues.
Ethereum gas fees. It's something
Yeah,
that a
I was
lot of
actually just
games.
learning about, like, I guess Ethereum in depth with the whole gas and scaling and all that stuff, and I don't know. Hopefully they can get something together for that. It's as of right
Isn't
now, which is why a lot
staking
of people
supposed to
have
be
been.
the
What is
answer
it?
to that? Isn't staking
When we're
supposed to be the answer to that with ETH 2.0?
that's like that's like it's like a band-aid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's the band-aid to a bigger problem, if I were to like describe it. A lot of people who are like ADA fans, Cardano fans, they prefer that blockchain, even though there's like literally nothing built on Cardano, because of the way it's set up, and it's because it's able to scale bigger and faster than 2.0 Ethereum can. So
All right.
it's not as great. They still have a lot of fixing to do, in my opinion, when it comes to scalability. ETH
Makes sense.
2.0 is cool, but it's not, an ultimate solution, because as companies continue to build on top of ETH, scalability issues are going to increase. And there's only, like, staking is cool and all, but like something else needs to be done. I don't know,
Mhm.
like, if you hear Vitalik talk on it, they're working on it, but it's not. There's other blockchains out there that do what they are trying to better. And whenever they figure out how to, I guess, bring all those projects along and properly implement scalability, then they'll be okay. But there's still issues. There's still a lot of gimmicks.
I hear that. All right, Brian, bring us back to the blockchain update.
Yeah, so another one is Tauron, the one from Zaya that I mentioned a few weeks ago, the treasure hunt that they have going on for $10,000 worth of prizes. They just set a date for it, so it's going to be starting the 25th of this month. So I think sometime next week, pretty much exactly a week from now. And then it is going to end October 9th. So it's not sure exactly what the gameplay is specifically looking like right now. It's more for like bug testing purposes and like kind of like a very kind of like pre-alpha type gameplay so they can, test out the features and functions and multiplayer on a live scale. But as I said, there's going to be about $10,000 in prizes, NFTs, other types of rewards and stuff. And I believe it's free to play. You just have to go and I think enter your email on the site. I know I went and checked out the website, but I don't remember there being a specific sign up. So I'm sure there'll be a direct download once it starts, either on their website or their Telegram. They definitely keep the Telegram updated, so that'd be a good place to check out. But it is going to be backed by Ubisoft, so that is very promising, especially with the ten
Ooh, yeah,
thousand
that's
dollars worth of
promising.
prizes.
Ubisoft.
So that's definitely one to look out for, because very few people, in the grand scheme of say like $10,000 in prizes like Call of Duty competition. You're gonna have hundreds of thousands of people playing for that, whereas this one maybe 5 to 10,000 if they're very lucky of people really playing this game for these prizes during this competition, just because not a lot of people play a lot of blockchain games. It's not mainstream as it were, especially a platform like Zaya. It is still very much up and coming. I think they have like 2 games out right now, but even that they have like their own like mining platform thing you have to download and hook up, and it's a little bit confusing. So hopefully this is just going to be a direct download and jump in and connect to your wallet or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, August 25th is when it begins, so next week. So keep an eye out for that. That is Tauron, Taurion, just because it's a little bit, tricky to pronounce for those that want to look it up.
So something you
Nice.
mentioned, Brian, real quick, when you were talking about, not a lot of people are in blockchain games. It's really important to like realize, like, some developers don't think about this. Some people like who put games together don't think about this. They kind of just, make the game, but it's like really important to, like you said, make it easy where I don't have to download extra programs and extra softwares and do like all this extra stuff because it's not consumer friendly.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's where I hope
if
Ubisoft is going to
anyone is
come in.
watching this on the live stream, please make your blockchain games more
Mm-hmm.
consumer friendly. If not, people will not play them. It's that simple. You can have
Oh,
fantastic marketing, but if it's a super confusing game, like people will not play them.
yeah, a lot of them are, slowly making the switch, at least the ones that are able to, the more simple ones, to mobile, on iOS and Android, just for, the ease of just, you go onto the app, you sign into your wallet or whatever, and then you're immediately playing. But yeah, the one I don't remember what the game is. It's like some sort of like they have like a food game and then some sort of like
A
sport
food game,
manager. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's really weird. I think it's like ice cream something sparkle. I don't remember. Some really weird.
that's
It's
funny.
I tried playing either of them, but I was never able to figure out how to get into the games. And this is
Exactly.
for
Like that's
Zaya,
not.
so this
You
is
might
where
as
I'm
well have
hoping
not
that
have built a
for.
game if people
Hmm.
can't figure out how to play it. Like that's.
Especially for
So
somebody
I'm
that's such
hopeful.
into blockchain and gaming like you. If you can't figure it out, I don't know how an
Yeah,
average
exactly.
gamer would be able to figure it out. So
That's a
definitely some
problem.
things that
That's the
need to
problem when it
be
comes to getting blockchain games like to get adopted. That's the
agreed.
unfortunate truth. The unfortunate truth is that we're not making things consumer friendly. We want to implement crypto into it, but a lot of these games are not easy to actually play. There's
All
games that you
right.
can just go online, you can go on a website and you can play them, like Splinterlands or Skyweaver, those little card games. Other games, like you said, Brian, you couldn't even get on. It's a whole hassle. So I don't know. Just felt like pointing that out.
I'm glad you did. So I see a couple of new faces just joined us. Again, welcome guys. This is the Blockchain Universe podcast, Futures podcast. We talk about blockchain, gaming, VR, streaming games, cloud games. I just set the button on for raising your hand. So if you guys raise your hand, click that button. I'll see the pop up. You guys can ask some questions and even join us on stage. I'll go ahead and segue over to streaming platforms. I'm sure a lot of people are aware that Mixer's now gone. It's kind of integrated into Facebook gaming. There's a lot that's going on with the competition between Twitch, Facebook gaming, and YouTube gaming. Now, YouTube is working on implementing streaming directly through Google Stadia, their cloud gaming platform. So not only can you start playing the game from any web browser, but you can also hit a button that's now being showed in the developer mode, and you'll just be able to click that button and boom, you're live right from the web browser. You don't need to deal with like OBS or any other platforms, kind of like with your Xbox and PlayStation, where you can just hit the go live button. You're able to just go live right from the platform. I think it's really cool that they're implementing, streaming into their platform. But another feature that's coming that I think is really cool about Google Stadia is the fact that you'll be able to just if you're watching, like, let's say me, I'm playing a game on Google Stadia, you can be able to hit the button to join me, and if you have Google Stadia as well, you'll be able to just jump right into my game and play alongside me. I think that's going to be a killer feature that Mixer or Facebook Gaming and Twitch kind of at this point don't have any way to put somebody directly into your game and play with them. There's no way to do that with PlayStation and Xbox. So I think that's going to be one killer feature that's going to be great for Stadia when competing against the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Aside from that, there's a bunch of new games that just dropped for Google Stadia, so go check it out if you're into that. But I want to talk more about the platforms, the next generation consoles. You got the Xbox Series X. We're getting a word that it's going to be coming out at $599. What do you guys think about that price point for the
Yikes,
Xbox Series
really?
X?
It's kind of
Yeah,
pricey, man. Well, it depends for who, because some people, they'd be willing to pay, and or have the means. There's other people who might not have the means to pay almost $600 for a console. So I don't know. And then this is where Google has kind of like the upper hand because yeah, so cloud gaming is not like super popular, but if I have to buy a almost $600 or $600 console plus pay $60 to $80 for the games I'm playing, I prefer just having a free server, which is Google Stadia, not having to pay for a console and just buying the $60 games, which I'm going to stream anyways. So I don't know. That's where Google has the upper hand because these consoles are getting more and more expensive. The only thing is, if you want to play with your friends, again, things are not cross compatible yet. I would love companies to drop the, I don't want to say bullshit they have, but like you can't play with an Xbox user, you can't play with a PC user, hierarchy, and just let people do cross platform gaming for the same games. If it's online, it's online. That would be amazing. But then
Crossplay,
again, like
yeah.
I said, uh, Google would have the upper hand in that if that were to ever happen, because then people would possibly not see the need to buy a console and or um well, there's always exclusive games because I know that new Spider-Man game's coming out on the PS5 only, right? It's not coming out for any other
That's
thing.
correct, which
Yeah,
makes
so
me
that's how they
very
get you.
sad.
So I don't know. There's a lot of like meh things to deal with, but these consoles are just getting more expensive. It's like buying a phone at this rate.
If you guys in the audience have any opinions, you guys want to share how you feel about the price of the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5, which are going to be ridiculously expensive, go ahead and hit that raise hand button down below, and I'll go ahead and let you join us up here. Remember, we're live streaming, so everything you say will be heard across the web. But yeah, guys, I think it's very interesting to see where the console cycle and the cloud gaming cycle is going. We're already getting rumors that Google Stadia is now looking at upgrading their hardware. I think that's one of the coolest thing. Like Google Stadia is only what 10 months old, and they're already talking about upgrading their hardware. They don't have to wait for cycles like the Xbox and the PlayStation, where we just got we had the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One for what, five,
Years.
6 years? I want to say
Yeah,
seven
it's been
years now. I
years.
got my Xbox, so 7 years we've had that, and now we're getting the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Whereas Google can upgrade every single year, and the hardware is just going to get faster and faster on the back end. Whereas we're just going to be able to stream that content directly to our computers or phone or laptop, whatever, instantly. I'm so excited for that. It's going to be amazing to see what they are able to do with the next gen hardware. If we got so many features so already um, with the hardware that they have now, I can only imagine what features we're going to have with the next gen hardware.
So,
All right,
real quick,
so
because I
we've
don't know if anyone
discussed.
knows about this, but if you guys, I'm sure have heard regarding the whole postal office thing where they're picking up mailboxes and Trump's trying to defund the postal office and all this other stuff. Now, because of this whole voting issue, so the IRS, first of all, they were seizing bitcoins that were tied to terrorists. Somehow that has to do with the post office. I'm not sure what. But also, the U.S. Postal Service filed for a blockchain voting patent, so they wouldn't have to deal with the whole thing, collecting ballots and all that, which is actually kind of freaking cool. One of the main things that blockchain is used for is for governance. DAOs, if you guys are familiar with autonomous organizations, decentralized autonomous organizations. So I'm actually a little bit excited for that. I'm not gonna lie. I think this attack on the postal service office has kind of helped them in a way, because they're getting uh, probably better services. One, and then two, not that suing the government is a good thing, but they could get some actual funding because they are underfunded. So I don't know. I thought that's interesting.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
so
thank you for bringing that
that's pretty
up.
cool. That's pretty cool. What I'm
So
hoping for is eventually the entire voting process is on the blockchain so that we can get rid of all this shady, we don't know where these votes went. We can get rid of all that because if that happens, then I mean, this is just going to be like so much easier, and it's gonna be so much better to
Revolutionary.
vote. So
Agreed. So
that's
I
huge
just
news
got
to me.
a notification on my phone actually from PC Gamer about Oculus VR headsets will soon require Facebook accounts. We're already seeing that for
Yeah,
um
that's been a thing. I thought they required you to do that if you wanted to like
no,
play or contact friends. Like you had
yeah,
to
if you
add them
wanted to
on
be able to
Facebook.
play with friends, you had to connect your Facebook account to be able to add friends. But now they're saying once you get the headset right out the bat, you have to either log in with your Facebook account
Can
or
you
sign up for
make
a Facebook account.
can you make like not particularly an account of yourself on Facebook? Can you, or do you have to be you
It
on
has
Facebook
to be
now?
you. You can't.
Really? How do they
They've
verify this
restricted it.
information that it is in fact you?
I don't.
Like how do
I
they
don't think
know?
they verify every person. They just verify specific people. But there's a strict method that they go through of making sure you're a real person and not a company.
Well, okay, so that's not what I mean. What I'm saying is, you know how like you go on Twitter and people have avatars, or like they have like a meme account,
Little
or like
text
they hide
symbol, right?
behind an adv. Like is that you can do that with Facebook, right? They don't require like I
No,
when I
from
signed
what
up for
I'm
Facebook, it was maybe your first name, last name, and you can be whoever. Is I last I checked, or I heard they were trying to make it so that you couldn't do that, something like that. But
correct.
I don't know
I
what that
haven't
process is.
I haven't gone through the process of trying to create a new Facebook account,
I
but
think
to
I'm
my
gonna create an
knowledge,
account just to try that, just to see what the fucking whatever it is.
so
Sorry,
to
excuse
my
my language, but
knowledge, it one of the things that they're doing is making sure that like you're not reusing an email address as well as you're not reusing a phone
you can't reuse
number.
email addresses. That's not a thing. If you
Uh,
already have the email, you
so,
have the email.
but
Phone
the
number,
phone
okay,
number, that one,
okay, phone
would be
number.
a little tough unless you use like a Google Voice account. So I think those are the main verification methods and 2FA. So I could see where they're going to send you a text message and you have to confirm that text unless you have like Google Voice or something. You'd have to, get another phone number that isn't already linked to a Facebook account to make one. And I believe they have one other method to make sure that you're a human and not a robot or a company.
Okay, but I mean, if I wanted to put my name as Elizabeth, I could technically still. Like they're not gonna
Go back
know
and check to make sure your
that my
actual name
name's
is
not
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Correct.
Okay, so I mean, people can still have some privacy to an extent. I don't know, but Facebook is taking over the world, guys. If you haven't noticed, Facebook is taking over the world. So,
Absolutely.
just
They're trying
FYI.
at least. But
Alrighty.
I think
Do you guys have any other
that
topics that you want to go over? I haven't
oh,
seen
so
anything.
I saw one Oculus VR well, no. There's like a new video game that I was gonna discuss real quick about Oculus,
What
but
game?
it um I'm looking for the name of it right now. It was a pretty interesting game that got my attention. It's not really a game. It's more so a collaborative um, a game. It's a productive app for VR, I would say. So I don't know if anybody here has ever tried to do like a mind map where it's like, you can be able to put out all of these different, I guess you could say thought bubbles and organize your different thought bubbles in different
What?
areas.
I don't
Mind
understand.
mapping. That's yeah, it's an interesting subject to me.
Like,
Basically,
so I remember, like, I don't know if this is the same thing, but you know how this is like school related. Wow, I'm going back to like the eighth grade now. But like, you know how there was like a topic, and then from the topic you'd have different subtopics, something like that. Is that what you mean? Like
I
mapping
want to
out.
say yes, but mapping it out in different in virtual reality. So you could be able to, for example, the pictures that they had in the app, from what I remember, they
And
had
this is
like
a game.
Disney. It, it's a collaborative. I wouldn't say game. It's a productive app in VR. It's one of the first Oculus productive apps outside of like the art
So
and
like,
sculpting type of
so
apps.
like for planning things, like can I plan? I did like I'm just trying to
Yes.
like actually
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
what this
yeah.
thing
You
is.
can create your
So it's
whole
used for like,
workflow and train
okay,
somebody utilizing this.
okay, 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 that makes sense. Okay, so it's not like a game. It's just it's something. It's like a. I get it. Okay, that's cool. It's good that
Right?
Oculus is branching out to alternative things. So there's actually a lot of people who I've talked to who use VR headsets for business. So that's actually not something that is strange. So, and VR headsets and AR and all these
Found it.
other
It's
headsets.
called
What's it called?
Noda, Noda.
Noda.
Yeah, their
Hmm.
their catchphrase is a space for connected thinking. So like I said, you can create your own mind map and connect your thoughts or your workflow, and then you can also share it with someone else, and that person can come in and collaborate and build on top of it. So like in this example, somebody's creating a story and showing all of the different characters, and each of those characters have their own little bubbles underneath them showing about their life and this that and the third, so you can have all of the different pinpoints of building this story and be able to see it in a 360 view and be able to properly write this story, because you can literally see all of the elements of the story in 360 rather than kind of just writing it down on a notebook. Yeah, I think of it kind of like, you ever see like those detective shows or anything like that, and they'll like put up a map and then like draw, put the string and the pinpoints and like connecting the dots all of the investigation. Same
Yeah, yeah.
concept, but in virtual reality with
Oh, okay.
collaborating with other people.
That's cool. That's cool. I feel like I don't know why, but I felt like that should have already been a thing. I feel like that should have been like a thing like way long ago. Because like, you know how we have tilt brush? That's
Mm-hmm.
it kind of reminds me of that. It's like of that category, almost like mapping out,
Yeah,
drawing, art.
it's a
I get it.
productivity app. But I would say that, like, there's art productivity and then there's like work productivity. I feel like, like you said, Tilt Brush and there's another one called Sculptor, a few other applications, even like Altspace. These are social productivity apps. But like this is the first, uh, I would say, like real productivity app where like I can actually come in and start building and doing things rather than just socializing.
Okay, makes sense.
That's
Personally,
it
I
on
don't have
my.
any more stories. Do you have anything else?
I'm out of stories. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, that's pretty much it on my end for this week.
All right. Well, it looks like we have a question from Zach. I'm gonna go ahead and give him the
What's
mic.
up, Zach?
You got the mic. Go on and Zach, if you can hear me, I can't hear you. You should be able to talk now. No? All right, guess not. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Futures Podcast. Again, my name's Jerome.
Or are we
Or
doing it individually? I'm Annalise, and this is Brian. Say hi, Brian.
Hello, everybody. See y'all next week.
see you
See
guys
you guys.
next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Also, some other events that we got going on. Uh, we got Story Game Wednesday tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Next Monday, Crypto Mondays.
What he said was, in case anyone didn't hear, is next Monday is Crypto Mondays. We will be having the CTO of OpenSea, Alex. He will be with us for Crypto Mondays.
Is
Actually,
that next
that's
Monday?
September
No, that's
7th.
two
I lied.
Mondays. Yeah,
No,
next
Alex will be on
Monday.
September 7th. Next Monday is, I think, LGO Group, LGO.group. They do DeFi, decentralized finance. Same time, same place. So if you guys are interested in learning about decentralized finance and how decentralized finance works, join us for Crypto Mondays. That's going to be next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time in
All
Altspace
right.
or streamed.
All right. And I think that's it. Thanks for joining us, you guys.